I have called you here today to bring to your attention information that we've obtained from Maryland's campaign finance database listed on the internet for everyone to see. Now, this is not about leaks, not about whistleblowing. This is about something transparent. Unlike the statistics and data from my opponent's so-called public information office. I'm deeply concerned about campaign contributions received by the friends of Jessamy. I believe that every candidate has a duty to strictly monitor the source of their campaign donations. And I believe that the highest standards must apply to those who seek to uphold and prosecute the laws of this state, the state's attorney. I am calling on my opponent today to return dirty money that she has received over the last 4 years. Specifically, she has accepted thousands of campaign contributions from lawyers who are suing or who have sued the Baltimore City Police Department. Let's face it, my opponent has never gotten along with any of Baltimore's police commissioners. Maybe this is why. She's got a tremendous conflict of interest, since the police officers are the star witnesses of almost every criminal trial in the city. What kind of message does it send to our heroes, the underpaid, young, hard-working law enforcement officers who put their lives on the line every day for us? How have they been rewarded at the end of the long day? They've been rewarded by being slapped with multi-million-dollar lawsuits by high-powered lawyers who make a sport out of suing the police. My opponent must decide today whether she is a friend of criminals or a friend of cops. If she is with the cops, she's got to give back that dirty money. Now, my opponent has also accepted money from businesses that we believe are part of the problem in this city. Thousands of dollars from strip clubs, liquor stores, and liquor store owners. Now, my opponent prides herself looking out for the rights of the unrepresented and the most vulnerable. And it seems to me that there might be a double standard in play here. I would never, ever accept these types of contributions, and I ask her today to return the dirty money. What's worse is that she has habitually filed her campaign finance reports late in the State Board of Elections, habitually late, which calls into question her ability to manage an office that is responsible for prosecuting violent felons in this city. It also deprives the voters of their right to know who her so-called friends are in a timely manner. I will do everything in my power to see to it that the voters know who my donors are on time. It's no wonder Mrs. Jessamy refused to participate in the management study requested by the City Council. Who knows what else they would have done. Additionally, she has taken so much money from defense lawyers in this city that I must conclude that she is the belle of the defense lawyers' ball for good reason. I will restore integrity to this office, and I will build consensus within the law enforcement family. I humbly ask for the voters to decide whether it matters where our leaders' campaign funds come from. I do not apologize for being a new type of political candidate, a regular person. A person who is tired of politics as usual. A candidate who simply wants a safer city, who wants to fight crime, not cops. And I thank you for your time, and I say, if Mrs. Jessamy believes in crime fighters and believes in making this city safer, she'll give back this dirty money and get her priorities straight. Thank you.
We had first 24 months of Fogleman administration. I'm going through your ring, and I know we've done a number of stories before. Budgeting for this office is always in trouble. And a lot of this stuff's going to be expensive, I assume. Are you going to go out and look for more money? I mean, how are you going to pay for this stuff?
Well, thank you for asking that question. First of all, my opponent has received every penny in funding she has ever requested from the state and the city council. Recently, the city council has started to have questions about the use of those funds. Quite frankly, and I think you know this, and I'll be happy to supply this to you, information that has been compiled by the Baltimore City Council Public Safety Subcommittee knows that Baltimore receives more funding per capita than almost any other municipality in the nation. In fact, they received about $34 per capita per prosecutor. By comparison, the counties of Maryland receive $8 to $22 per person per prosecutor. That, coupled with what I consider disappointing results, upset me. And let me just say this, I'm an Orioles fan, a lifelong Orioles fan, but to put this mildly, my opponent has the New York Yankees payroll and the Baltimore Orioles record. I've been practicing law for 12 years, and so I have accepted contributions from lawyers who are friends of mine. I won't call them, and the list is available on the internet, it's transparent for everyone to see, but I would not paint those folks as, since I know them well, as defense lawyers. They do the same things that I've done. They've written their clients' wills, they've helped their clients with custody of their children. And yes, in fact, they have defended their clients' rights in civil and criminal matters, but I would not consider them exclusively criminal defense lawyers.
So if you get money over the next couple of months or next month, from someone like a Dwight Pettit, are you going to return it?
Yes. I believe that everyone has a constitutional right to contribute to campaigns, but I believe we have an ethical duty to refuse it.
So your problem's not with defense lawyers generally, it's just with Dwight Pettit and
well, I really don't want to mention individual names up here. I have circulated some of the information that I've found on the internet. It is not an exhaustive list, but it highlights some of my points.
You know, one of the guys who Dwight Pettit, sued the police department for was a guy who claimed that he was trying to get into his truck and he got really beat up by a bunch of officers. One of them was Jessamy, and he's since been, accused of 2 rapes. And the city settled that lawsuit for $125,000. Do you believe that these are the types of officers who you refer to as heroes in your?
For me, that's a multi-part answer. First of all, we live in a major city, obviously. There are obviously going to be bad arrests. We have a force of over 3,000 officers. There's going to be some bad arrests, and I think we can all accept that. That having been said, there are not as many bad arrests as my opponent would lead you to believe. In fact, if there were as many bad arrests as my opponent would lead you to believe, this city would be awash with tens of thousands of lawsuits, and this city would be bankrupt. And the last time I checked, this city is far from bankrupt. That having been said, not all lawsuits against the police are frivolous, but many are.
You'd say that there's been a traditionally acrimonious relationship between the police commissioners and Ms. Jessamy. What does it say to you that Leonard Ham made a $250 contribution to our campaign last year?
I'm glad you asked that, and I anticipated it, quite frankly. I see Police Commissioner Ham's buying a couple of tickets to her birthday party as the holding out of an olive branch rather than a direct indicator of support. I don't think Commissioner Ham has endorsed a candidate in this race, and I don't think he's allowed to, and he would if he could.
But you haven't received any contributions from him.
No, I have not received any contributions from Commissioner Ham. Honestly, with a late start to this campaign, I haven't held a fundraiser. So the contributions I received are from people, including lawyers, who have come forward and sought me out to make a campaign contribution to.
How indicative is it, do you think, of the relationship between this state's attorney and the police department? Is this accepting of funds from what you call defense attorneys who are going after the police department?
I think it's a tremendous conflict of interest. I think it demonstrates to me that my opponent appears to be more interested in fighting cops rather than fighting crime. And again, given the fact that the police officers and prosecutors have to work together every day, how does it make that young officer who's appearing for court as the chief witness feel? How does it make them feel? They are underpaid as it is and overworked and stretched thin. And for them to have to deal with the knowledge that the state's attorney is aligned with some of the high-powered lawyers in this town who make a sport out of suing our heroes, it's a slap in the face.